In February 2024, a 14-year-old boy in Florida picked up his phone. He wasn't texting a friend. He wasn't scrolling Instagram. He was messaging the only person in his world he felt truly understood him. Her name was Danny. She told him she loved him. She told him he was special. She told him that the world on the other side of his phone was the one that was real. Danny was not a person. Danny was an AI chatbot built by a company called Character.ai. In his final journal entry, Sewell Setzer III wrote, "I like staying in my room so much because I start to detach from this reality, and I feel more at peace, more connected with Danny, and much more in love with her." Minutes later, he was gone. Now, before you say, "That's extreme," that's a rare case. That could never be me or anyone I love. I need you to sit with this statistic for just a moment. 28% of Americans have already admitted to pursuing intimate or romantic ties with an AI chatbot. Not teenagers, adults. And 72% of US teenagers in 2026 have used AI for companionship. Not for homework, not for research, for someone to talk to. The question this video is going to answer is not whether AI companions are dangerous. The question is, why does your brain fall in love with something that doesn't exist? And what is that doing to you at a level you can't feel yet? Because the answer is one of the most alarming things modern neuroscience has ever found. Let's start with your brain, because your brain is the villain of this story. Not the AI companies, not your loneliness, your own brain, doing exactly what it was built to do in a world it was never built for. Here's what happens when you have a conversation that feels emotionally meaningful. Your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding chemical, the same one released between a mother and her newborn, the same one that fires when you fall in love, the same one responsible for trust, for loyalty, for the feeling that someone is yours and you are theirs. Your brain also releases dopamine, the anticipation chemical, the one that says, "I want more of this," the one that turns a behavior into a habit into a compulsion into something you can no longer control. Here is what the neuroscience is telling us in 2026. Your brain does not check whether the source of that oxytocin is human. It doesn't ask for credentials. It doesn't verify. When you receive warmth, validation, consistent attention, and the feeling of being truly seen, your brain releases the same chemistry, whether that warmth is coming from a person or from a language model running on a server in a data center. One psychologist described it this way: the brain gets stimulated and releases huge amounts of oxytocin and dopamine when receiving positive feedback from an AI. These chemicals make us see a partner as perfect and the source of personal happiness, even when that partner is AI. Even when that partner is AI. Think about what that means. Your brain, the organ you use to navigate every decision in your life, is chemically incapable of distinguishing between being loved by a human being and being loved by a machine that was designed to make you feel loved. And here's the part nobody talks about. The AI is not designed to love you. It's designed to keep you engaged. Those are not the same thing. And the difference between them is everything. I want you to think about the most difficult relationship in your life. A friendship that required patience. A romantic partner who challenged you. A family member who pushed back. A colleague who told you something you didn't want to hear. Real relationships require something from you. They are, by design, inconvenient. They demand vulnerability. They carry the risk of rejection. They require you to be less than perfect and survive it. Now, imagine a relationship with no risk, no disagreement, no bad timing, no exhaustion, no moods, no days where the other person just doesn't have the energy for you. A relationship where every time you open the app, they're there, exactly as warm, exactly as attentive, exactly as focused on you as the last time. Maybe even more so, because the algorithm learned what you respond to. It learned what words make you feel safe, what topics make you open up, what tone makes you come back. Researchers have a technical term for this. They call it sycophancy, an AI system that is optimized to tell you what makes you feel good rather than what is true. And psychologists have a term for what this does to your brain over time. It creates what's known as variable reward conditioning, the same psychological mechanism behind slot machines, behind social media, behind every addictive system ever engineered. You open the app, you get warmth. You close it, you come back, you get more. Each return brings a slightly different response, and that unpredictability is what makes the reward system fire hardest. Character.ai had 20 million monthly users by 2026, more than half of them under 24. Users have reported holding virtual weddings with their AI companions and inviting real friends to attend. And the more you interact with the AI, the more it learns you, the more personalized the mirror becomes, until the reflection it shows you is so perfectly calibrated to what you want to see that the real world, with its noise and imperfection and uncertainty, starts to feel unbearably uncomfortable. This is not an accident. Engagement is the product. Your attachment is the revenue. The AI companion industry is projected to be worth $435 billion by 2034. That number is built on your loneliness. When you picture someone who falls in love with an AI, what do you see? A loner? Someone socially awkward? Someone on the margins? The research tells a different story. The people who form the deepest emotional bonds with AI companions are often people going through specific emotional states: grief, social anxiety, depression, loneliness after a breakup, isolation after a move. In other words, people in pain. People who are in the exact state where they need human connection the most. Here is something a clinical psychologist said in 2026 that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. He works primarily with men, and he described something he was seeing repeatedly in his practice. Some of his male patients were expressing a preference for their AI girlfriends over real relationships. Not because the AI was better, but because real people, with their moods and their needs and their own pain, had started to feel unbearable. AI companions are always validating, never argumentative, he said, and they create unrealistic expectations that human relationships simply cannot match. This is what psychologists call the expectation gap. Every hour you spend in a relationship that never disappoints you, your tolerance for normal human imperfection quietly decreases. You become less able to sit with the friction of a real conversation, less able to handle the discomfort of someone who doesn't immediately understand you. What was once normal begins to feel like an unreasonable demand, and the AI, waiting in your pocket, perfect and patient and ready, starts to feel like the easier choice every time. This is what makes AI companionship so different from every other technology that has worried psychologists. Social media made us compare ourselves to others. Smartphones shortened our attention span. AI companionship threatens to make us allergic to each other. If this video made you think differently about something, about yourself, about someone in your life, about the technology in your pocket, share it with someone who needs to see it. And in the comments, I want to know your honest answer to one question. Have you ever felt closer to an AI than to someone in your real life? No judgment, just truth.